Welcome to the edge of what we thought we knew. Somewhere beneath the scorched soil of central Italy, beneath centuries of silence and stone, an entire city has been waiting. Not a ruin, not a scatter of broken walls. A city with streets, temples, a forum, a theater, underground pipes, and the echoes of 2,000 years of human life. You are watching Encycloman, where buried civilizations rise again, and every stone holds a secret that history tried to forget. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because what you are about to witness is not just ancient history, it is the resurrection of an entire world. The dust is shifting. The city is calling. Let us begin. 50 kilometers north of Rome, in the Lazio region of central Italy, lies a stretch of countryside that has been farmed for centuries. Wheat fields, olive groves, low stone walls, unremarkable to every eye that has ever passed over it. But beneath those fields, sealed under layers of soil and silence, lay one of the most complete Roman cities ever discovered, Falerii Novi. A city established around 241 BC after Rome defeated the original Phalascan people and built a new settlement on their land. For generations, farmers found pottery shards and broken tiles. They noticed the ground was old. But no one imagined the full scale of what slept beneath their feet until the 21st century finally gave archaeologists the tools to ask the right question of the earth. While the city itself was buried, one thing did survive above ground: the walls. The ancient defensive perimeter of Falerii Novi, built from large volcanic tufa blocks, remained partially standing through the medieval period and into modern times. These walls were always known to local historians. They stretched nearly 2 kilometers in circumference, forming a rough rectangle around the buried city. Scholars documented them. Artists sketched them. But because no large structures survived above ground, most assumed the interior of the city had been completely plundered or destroyed in antiquity. They were wrong. The walls had not just survived, they had protected everything inside them. Like the lid of a sealed chest, the perimeter of Falerii Novi had kept its contents intact, hidden, waiting. In 2020, a team of researchers from the University of Cambridge and Ghent University aimed a technology called ground-penetrating radar (GPR) at the fields of Falerii Novi. What returned on their screens would silence the room. GPR works by sending electromagnetic pulses deep into the earth. When those pulses strike buried objects, walls, floors, pipes, voids, they bounce back at different frequencies, creating a digital map of everything underground. Archaeological sonar. No shovels, no damage, pure signal. The team swept the equipment across 15 hectares, and as the data resolved, they were looking at a complete Roman city streets, buildings, temples, theater, water pipes, all of it perfectly preserved, waiting beneath a thin layer of soil that farmers had been walking over for 1,000 years. What the radar revealed was a masterclass in Roman urban design. Falerii Novi was laid out on the classic Cardo and Decumanus system, two main roads bisecting the city at right angles, dividing the urban space into carefully proportioned blocks called insulae. Every Roman city, from Pompeii to London, followed this same rational logic. The Cardo ran north to south. The Decumanus ran east to west. At their intersection lay the heart of the city, the Forum. And radiating outward from that center, in perfect geometric order, were the neighborhoods, the workshops, the homes, the temples. The GPR data showed this grid with extraordinary clarity. Even the secondary roads were visible, even the alleys. Falerii Novi was not a rough provincial settlement. It was a precisely engineered urban organism, built to Roman standards and built to last. At the center of every Roman city stood the Forum, not just a marketplace, but the beating heart of civilization itself. It was where merchants traded, where politicians spoke, where courts delivered justice, where citizens gathered to be citizens. The GPR data revealed Falerii Novi's Forum with stunning detail. A large open rectangular plaza surrounded on multiple sides by colonnaded porticos, covered walkways, supported by rows of columns that provided shade in summer and shelter in winter. Along the edges of the forum stood the civic buildings, the basilica for legal proceedings, administrative offices, possibly a curia where local senators met. Standing in that forum 2,000 years ago, you would have heard everything at once: the haggling of merchants, the declarations of magistrates, the prayers of the devout, the laughter of children. The forum was not a place you visited. It was where you lived your public life. Among all the structures the GPR survey revealed inside Falerii Novi, one building stopped the research team cold. Adjacent to the forum, the scan data resolved into a large, covered market, a macellum, but with an architectural form that no one expected. Roman macella were typically rectangular structures arranged around a central courtyard. The Falerii Novi macellum appeared to follow a different plan, one with unusual curved or circular elements that gave it a form more complex than a standard provincial market had any right to be. This was not the building of a minor backwater town. The architectural investment implied by this structure suggests that Falerii Novi had patrons, wealthy individuals, or civic institutions who wanted their city to be more than ordinary. Someone here had ambition, and they built it in stone. Near the eastern gate of Falerii Novi, the scan data resolved into something that made the research team pause and look again. A temple complex, but not a modest provincial shrine. The footprint was enormous, monumental, a structure that could have stood in Rome itself. Its dimensions, its entrance portico, its surrounding sacred enclosure, all pointed to a dedication to one of the major gods of the Roman state pantheon. Possibly Jupiter, Juno, or Minerva, the divine trinity that anchored Roman religious and political identity. Why would a mid-sized provincial city build a temple of this scale? The answer may lie in Falerii Novi's origins. Built on the ruins of the defeated Faliscan civilization, this city may have been designed as a deliberate statement of Roman religious dominance, replacing what was destroyed with something grander, more permanent, more Roman than anything that came before. Romans loved performance. Theater was not entertainment in the modern sense. It was civic ritual, religious observance, and mass spectacle rolled into one. Every self-respecting Roman city had a theater, and Falerii Novi was no exception. The GPR data revealed the unmistakable semicircular footprint of a Roman theater inside the city walls. The characteristic curved seating arrangement cut into the natural slope of the terrain, the stage building projecting outward, the entire structure oriented to catch the best acoustics. In that theater, the citizens of Falerii Novi sat together, rich and poor, men and women, citizen and freed slave, and watched comedies, tragedies, and pantomimes. They applauded, they argued, they fell silent in collective emotion. The theater was where a city remembered that it was human. Of all the things the GPR survey revealed at Falerii Novi, one of the most extraordinary was also the most practical: the water distribution network. Running beneath the city's streets, in neat geometric patterns that mirrored the street grid above, lay the pipes. Roman water engineering was among the greatest achievements of the ancient world. Aqueducts carried fresh water from mountain springs across dozens of kilometers. Distribution networks divided that water through lead and clay pipes to public fountains, bathhouses, private homes, and workshops. At Falerii Novi, the pipes were so well preserved in the scan data that researchers could trace the exact path water traveled from the city's edge to its most distant neighborhoods. 2,000 years later, the engineering logic of those pipes remains perfectly legible, a testament to the obsessive Roman commitment to infrastructure, order, and the belief that civilization means making water flow exactly where you want it. Beyond the public monuments, beyond the temples and theaters and forums, the GPR data revealed something more intimate: the private homes of Falerii Novi's citizens. And in their floor plans, preserved perfectly in the scan data, we catch a glimpse of daily Roman life. Wealthier residents lived in domus-style houses, single-family homes built around a central atrium, the roof open to the sky, a shallow pool in the floor to collect rainwater. Rooms arranged around this central space, the tablinum, where the head of household received guests, cubicula for sleeping, triclinium for dining. Ordinary citizens lived in smaller row houses or in the upper floors of mixed-use buildings. But even the modest homes of Falerii Novi followed Roman spatial logic, the same instinct for order, the same understanding that how you arrange space shapes how you live your life. Falerii Novi did not die in a day. There was no earthquake, no volcanic eruption, no enemy army that burned it to the ground in a single night. Its death was slower, quieter, and in many ways more heartbreaking than sudden destruction. The decline began in the 3rd century AD as the Roman Empire entered its long crisis. Currency was debased, trade networks contracted, and the administrative machinery that had kept hundreds of provincial cities functioning began to fail. Tax revenues fell, public buildings went unrepaired. The roads that had once brought life into Falerii Novi grew dangerous and neglected. The great temple at the eastern gate fell silent as Christianity became the empire's official religion. The forum emptied, the theater was abandoned. One by one, the institutions that had made Falerii Novi a city, rather than just a collection of buildings, ceased to function. And when the institutions went, the people followed. By the early medieval period, Falerii Novi was empty. The last residents had gone to nearby hilltop settlements, safer, more defensible, in an era when the roads no longer brought merchants, but sometimes brought armed men instead. And then the grass grew. Autumn leaves fell on the forum stones. Spring floods deposited thin layers of silt across the street grid. Summer dust settled into the gaps between paving stones. Roots pushed through walls. Soil crept over thresholds. Season by season, century by century, the earth performed its slow burial. Within a few hundred years, the city was invisible, a flat, unremarkable field where the forum had been, a slight rise in the ground where the temple platform lay, nothing that any passing eye would notice. The people who had walked those streets were gone. The names carved on their monuments had worn smooth. The gods worshipped in their temples had been forgotten. Only the earth remembered. And the earth kept its secret for 1,000 years. The discovery of Falerii Novi as a fully mapped, structurally understood, yet entirely unexcavated city represents something genuinely new in the history of archaeology. It is a city that has been read without being opened. By using non-invasive technology, ground-penetrating radar, magnetometry, aerial LiDAR, researchers can now understand a buried city completely without touching a grain of soil. The city is preserved for future generations who will have analytical methods we cannot yet imagine. And Falerii Novi is not alone. Researchers estimate that the Italian peninsula alone may contain hundreds, possibly thousands, of similar buried sites. Across the Roman world, across every ancient civilization, entire cities, temples, and communities remain sealed beneath fields and forests. We are entering a new golden age of discovery, not of gold and glory, but of human memory, the recovery of civilizations the world thought it had lost forever. We began this journey in an empty field, unremarkable, unbothered by the 21st century. And yet beneath it, 2,000 years of human story lay perfectly preserved streets walked by Roman citizens, a temple built for forgotten gods, a theater where the city laughed together, pipes that carried the clean water of a civilization at its most confident. Falerii Novi is not just an archaeological discovery, it is a reminder that civilization is fragile, that entire worlds of human effort, love, and meaning can be swallowed by time and forgotten as completely as a dream. The Romans who built this city believed their empire was eternal. They were right about the stone. What did not last was the memory. But here is what this lost city teaches us. Nothing is ever truly gone. The earth remembers. The soil holds its testimony, patient as stone, waiting for someone to ask. And when we finally ask with the right tools, the right curiosity, the past answers. If this journey has moved you, subscribe to Encycloman right now, because we have only just begun to dig. Next time, we descend beneath a city so perfectly preserved that archaeologists call it a message written in stone, a place where time did not merely slow, it stopped completely. Stay with us. The earth has more to say.